Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Monday to everybody. Another college football weekend in the books. Can you believe we are already 1/3 of the way through the regular season this year? This college football season is absolutely flying by. Don't miss it. So, what I'm going to do today, which is going to become a normal staple on the Pigskin Pete YouTube channel, is my way too early Monday Vegas betting line projections. Now, last week was my worst week of all weeks. It was absolutely terrible. I was 3-6 against the spread. The previous 2 weeks before that, I was well over 500. So right now, for the year, I'm hovering right at 500 for the year. Lots and lots of major upsets in college football last weekend, both just straight up and against the spread. It was a completely wacky weekend in college football. I'm not going to go through the list of the teams that lost. Obviously, the most glaring and noticeable one was Virginia Tech losing to something called Old Dominion. What the hell was that? I don't know. The ACC has completely fallen off this year, and I'll be the first to admit it, even though I'm an ACC homer. Clemson, Syracuse, and Duke are the only things left in this conference to carry the torch. And maybe Miami, we'll see how they do. They made a quarterback change last week to the Perry kid, and we'll see how he does. Anyway, I'm getting off the rails here. Let's get into it. What I did today was I picked 5 games against the spread as they opened up today, and I'm going to make the picks against them. Good luck. Game number 1, West Virginia and Texas Tech. West Virginia is -4.5 at open, so they're favored by 4.5 points. I realize Texas Tech shocked the world this weekend and beat Oklahoma State. Nobody saw that coming. Texas Tech, one of the worst teams in the Big 12. Texas Tech still capable of putting up a lot of points, like a lot of teams in the Big 12 are. However, West Virginia is, in my opinion, top 2, 3 in all of the Big 12. Of course, you have Oklahoma. Texas is coming on strong all of a sudden, and in West Virginia. Texas had a big win over TCU, and so that sort of solidifies their spot in that number 3 spot, in my opinion. I still think it's Oklahoma and West Virginia are the 2 best teams in that conference up until now, and things are so crazy this year in football. Who knows if that's going to change 2 or 3 more times? We'll find out. However, 4.5 points. I think West Virginia is miles and miles ahead of Texas Tech in talent, coaching, and, of course, first and most importantly, quarterback play. Will Grier is the real deal. I think he will go to New York, at least get some votes for the Heisman if he doesn't win it. And I think West Virginia wins this game pretty easily. So at -4.5, West Virginia favored. Put your money on West Virginia Mountaineers. Game number 2, Ohio State and Penn State. One of the best games of the year every single year, especially when they play this game in Penn State and have the whiteout. Urban Meyer has a hard time going into Penn State and beating Penn State in Penn State. Ohio State is -4, which means Ohio State is favored by 4. Not so fast. Listen, I think that Penn State has a very good shot to win this game. The whiteout, the night game, Penn State is a tough team to beat at home no matter who they're playing, unless you're Appalachian State. I'm just kidding. I think that might have been a little bit more of a fluke than anything else. And I picked Penn State to win the Big Ten as our dark horse before the season started. I'm going to continue to roll with my Penn State brethren. I don't have any, but I'm making that up. But anyways, if you're a Penn State fan, Pigskin Pete's on your side, sir and ma'am. I'm picking Penn State to cover. So I'm saying Penn State still may lose, but it'll be by less than 4 points, maybe a field goal, maybe 1 point. This game always comes down to the end, and it's always a hard, tough game. And I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to broadcast the game, and I'm picking Penn State against the spread. Pick Penn State. Game number 3. USC Junior, for anybody who doesn't know who that is, that's the South Carolina Boom Chickens or Gamecocks against the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky is 4-0 against South Carolina in the past 4 years. This game this year is in Kentucky, and guess what? Kentucky is favored to win the game. I said before the season started, and this just shows you how much of a genius I really am, that Kentucky had a legitimate shot to easily come in second in the SEC East. And right now, guess what? Guess where Kentucky sits in the SEC East? They're set second. So Kentucky at -1 at home. I think Kentucky, not only have they beat South Carolina in the past 4 years, this is the best Kentucky team on both sides of the ball that they've had in the past 5 years. So Yes, everybody knows I hate the Gamecocks. Yes, everybody knows I want Kentucky to beat the Gamecocks. But I'm picking Kentucky to cover the one. I think Kentucky wins this game outright. I think that South Carolina is vastly overrated. And I think that Kentucky right now is pretty much underrated. So I'm picking Kentucky. Put your money on Kentucky at home to cover the spread against the Gamecocks. Game number 4, Duke and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, what are you doing? We had you penciled in as possibly the second best team in the ACC, and you lose to Old Dominion. Old Dominion has never beat a Power 5 program in their entire history. Virginia Tech was ranked in the top 10 of the country, right? Or top 15, I don't know. Something like that, doesn't matter. And you lost to them. Oh, man. Oh, man. First of all, I'm never forgiving you, Virginia Tech, for this. Never. I'm never forgiving you. So from now on till the end of the history of time, I am no longer picking Virginia Tech to win anything ever. And by the way, I am off the Justin Fuente train. Justin Fuente, I gave you 3 years of my life, sir. See ya. Bye. Don't want to know you no more. Anyway, Duke is favored by 5.5 points in this game. It'd be very easy to say Duke's undefeated. And by the way, Duke looks really good this year for anybody who's not paying attention to them. And Virginia Tech just came off a loss to Old Dominion, and so they should get completely smoked by Duke. This is a very hard game to pick. I'm going to be completely honest with you here. My gut feeling is to pick Duke because I've watched 2 Virginia Tech games now, and I've watched 2 Duke games in full. And Duke looks like a complete team. They're solid on offense. They're solid on defense. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They're not going to go out there and just, light the scoreboard up and beat you 50-0. But Duke does not make a lot of mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. David Cutcliffe, I'm telling you, pound for pound, as far as the talent on any given team in this entire country, David Cutcliffe gets the most out of his players pound for pound than any other coach in this country. Period. End of story. I think David Cutcliffe is a top 5 coach in the country. But the only reason he's not winning national titles and competing for playoff spots every year is because he's the coach of Duke. And it's hard to recruit football players to Duke when well, I'm not going to even go down that road. You do the math yourself. It's a basketball school. We all know that. I love David Cutcliffe. I love David Cutcliffe in this game. And I'm going to go with my instincts here and say that Duke not only wins this game, but they cover the spread and they win by more than 5.5. I'm putting my money on Duke. And last but not least, we have Stanford versus Notre Dame. So, another very hard game to pick. Notre Dame is favored to win this game by 9.5 points. Stanford, undefeated. Notre Dame, undefeated. Stanford with the comeback win, an impressive comeback win nonetheless, at Oregon this past weekend. Stanford's had a couple of stumbles here and there. Notre Dame's had a couple of stumbles, struggled with Ball State, close game with Michigan. Blew Wake Forest out, which I did not see that coming. Very, very difficult game to pick here. However, this game is in Notre Dame. Notre Dame very hard to beat at home. Ask Michigan. 9.5 points, though. That seems like a lot to me. You know what? I'm going to change my pick. I just talked myself out of my own pick. I originally had Notre Dame winning this game by more than 9.5 and covering the spread. I'm going to say Notre Dame wins the game outright. I'm picking Stanford to keep it closer than 9.5. So there you have it. If you have Bryce Love on your team, I realize he's not lighting the world on fire this year. He still is one of the best running backs in America. He didn't forget how to play football in the past couple weeks, trust me. And I don't really trust Notre Dame's offense to win by more than 9.5 points. So there you have it. I think Notre Dame wins the game, but Stanford covers the spread. Put your money on Stanford against the spread. And that's it for my Vegas locks of the week. Everybody have a great day. Pigskin Pete checking out.